we're talking about portals, so um, I guess we'll go ahead and just start off. Really, I think the first round was just we'll just go around and just kind of give our understanding of what portals are. There's different facets to portals, and maybe introduce yourself and just talk about the understanding of portals, whether it's physical or astral or um, it all, in my opinion, leads through the same channel. Um, but just different facets. Um, Fire Ash, would you like to start us off?
Yeah. So let's look at portals. Portal to me is when you look at it, and you can go and look up the definition. I'm not, that's an easy Google search away. But to look at a portal, it is a point that exists, a singular point, okay, that allows for access to two different energetic vibrations and fields. So portals exist in many different ways and facets. When you look at what the portal actually is, it's the gate, it's the open.
Thank you. And I agree. Um, I mean, it could be as simple as walking through your front door. It doesn't have to necessarily be a place, it could be a completely shift, a portal in consciousness to an extent. So, for instance, I had a stressful day at work. I walk through my front door. I have that instant family vibes that changed my conscious state instantly. I could call that somewhat of a facet of a portal. And that's on the very low stream of things, but I think that's, you know, kind of my understanding is there's different facets of it. Rabanus, would you like to, introduce yourself and give us your thoughts of understanding of portals?
Hello, everyone. Yeah, Rabanus. Not feeling very well today for some reason. I'm loving the fall, the autumn changeover. I don't know, man. Whew. Anyway, yeah. Portals. I believe that we use portals every time we use our abilities, no matter whether it's telepathy or telekinesis or clairvoyance. It's like we're opening up a portal within our mind in order to see or to feel into another portion of existence, whether it be inside of another person or whether it's just to literally see the future. And I think we're using little pockets of energy that are around us that allows us to see the ether or feel the ether and access those portals in order to use our abilities. That's what I believe portals actually are, just gateways for us to travel through to the fourth dimension, fifth dimension, however dimension you want to, in order to go further than we would normally. I think I'm gonna drop. I'm sorry, guys. I'm like trying to hold back up. Yeah. Thank you. I love you guys. I'm sorry.
You're fine.
No
You're
need
not
to
feeling.
apologize, man. Yeah.
We understand. If you're not feeling well, we understand. I hope you feel better. Don't put hope into it. Let's manifest it. But I do agree with him. Like portals, is different facets. You talk about tools, channeling, different ways. It doesn't have to be a physical area that creates entanglement and you just go through one's part of the portal and instantly go to the next. It's, when you get away from the physical body, that's when portals are much more available, I should say. So, Vision, would you like to introduce yourself and talk about your understanding of portals?
Greetings, one and all. Yes, it is in a vision. Coming at you live on Saturday night. No, this is Sunday, rather. We already went through a portal. Go through a portal every time we wake up. Every time we go to sleep. They don't look like what we've been told in these movies. My love Ash, you pointed out that point. That's awesome. Brother Robinus said a few words about state of being. Chris brought up consciousness. Love it. Thank you. The possibility to step into 1,000 journeys we could only fathom which way we want to go, which portal we want to enter next. It is a point, yes, where we see two different worlds, two different places of being. And it makes us present in both for a short time so that we could test the water and breathe the air. Yeah, my understanding of portals is mostly in my imagination, as it is in yours. Thank you.
Thank you. And that's another thing I agree upon. The things we can create within our imagination and where it can bring us and lead us to. So it's amazing. High voltage. I had to pause that for a second to make sure I get your name. But would you like to go ahead and introduce yourself and just speak about your understanding of portals?
I would. My name is Lisa, high voltage hippie, and that is because I figure if we're high vibing, we might want to up our voltage. What I see portals, the most magnificent portal I can see is the human instrument. I believe we're a portal for divine energy, and that shows in the womb. The womb brings life into the world. That's an amazing portal. It takes us from pure consciousness into material form. And I do feel that the portals of all dimensions lie within the human instrument. And so as within, so without. And I think that the portals within the self I think I heard the host say that the further that you get away from the body or the being, the more dynamic the portals become. And I think that they kind of go hand in hand in that sense.
Definitely. I appreciate, I love that you brought that up. Just the womb itself and the seed of life and how that's like the portal for consciousness to come within this dimension, within this experience. And it's beautiful. I was hoping somebody would bring that up, so I really appreciate that. Because that's when we talk about the facets of portals, it's from the macro to the micro, or micro to the macro. There's so many different facets that we can look at certain exchanges just being a portal to life, and it's amazing. So I'd like to go back up to Vinny, since he kind of filled up the box for Rabanus. And would you like to go and introduce yourself and just talk about your understanding of portals? Thank you, Vinny.
Yeah, thank you for having me. And Rabanus, hope you feel better, buddy. I understand portals. So here's the way I understand a portal, right? So portal, if we look at the definition as I understand it, portal is just a vehicle. It's a way to get from one point in time, in space and cosmos, quickly to the next point in time in cosmos, by shifting your path or your perspective or your mindset or whatever it is. There's a bunch of different portals. We could all start describing different types of portals and come up with a list of them if we sat here and did it. We kind of, Rabanus kind of brought it up, and when you use your empathy, right, and you read somebody, what I call reading someone, you can tell, you can connect with them on a deep level and see the things that they don't want to show anybody, and they're hiding from everybody. But you can open a portal to get that connection to inside what that person's feeling and experiencing, so you have a better understanding of what they're going through. So in that way, you can use a portal as well. And last month was August, so that was a big portal for everybody. That was the 8/8 portal. And in my life personally, since that time, I've noticed that life is speeding up while also slowing down at the same time. Like I'm speeding closer to where I'm going, but also life is going a little slower because I'm enjoying it more, if that makes sense. So that's kind of my understanding of portals, some of the ways we use them.
Thank you. I appreciate you,
Vinny.
Go ahead.
Sorry, guys. Thank you. You actually had a question for me, Vinny, and before we get into proper rotation, I just wanted to go ahead and, since it was your turn, and answer it. I'm gonna scroll all the way back so that way I make sure you said, technically we use portals all the time, right? Because we read people, whether they realize we are doing it or not. So, yes, in essence, what Rabanus touched on and said, and my love as well, and I think even Chris, everybody so far has kind of brought that in, is the fact that you have portals within yourself, and you utilize those portals within yourself to access. Oh, sorry, there's a cat demanding outside, and yeah, as everyone knows, cats, well, they're superior, no doubt. Anyways, the point is you do utilize the portals within you to access that information. Now, naturally, as light workers, we don't push past those, so we just go out and we collect the information. But you catch my drift. Yes, you do use a portal to receive that information.
Thank you, Ash.
Is there any other questions that anybody had so far? That if If so, just flash
There's
your
another
mic.
good one. There was another good one. And a vision actually caught it from. Let's scroll back to where she was. Scottish Lorraine. She said, Scottish Lorraine asked, when we sleep, are we going to another timeline? So when we sleep, are we going to other timelines?
I mean, I personally believe that it's definitely possible that we experience other timelines. It just depends on the situation, I would say. Because there is times that I've had extremely high energy that I've never felt just in a dream compared to, um, within the physical body. So, and in those dreams, I usually feel that separation of the body first. So, I think it's extremely possible. So, I mean, when we get into time, it gets tricky, but I think even when you get to so far, even into the universe, time is just, at that point, it's still technically a different time. But I believe that we can do plenty of life regressions that we give ourselves a reference of time within our own dialogue. But definitely.
Yeah, for sure, Barbie. So this is what I'm gonna say. The answer is yes, right? But I would like to just take your awareness to a visualization of it that I have and share that with you. So if you take that, the timelines, right? And you start magnifying it. For example, let's look at a hair, and you magnify it and you magnify it. You eventually start to see all of the cells that are laying within each other, creating the actual structure of that piece of hair. So when you look at memories, look at them as the cells of the timeline. When you look at that in that context, when you look at everything as the cells together, a part of the organic system, it brings it to a different clarity. And now I will respectfully be quiet. I don't see any other questions, and we can return to previous flow.
I would like to touch on that question.
Please do.
A timeline is something that we walk consciously. When we sleep, you can go wherever you want to go, do what you want to do, as long as you're consciously aware of what you're doing. But you cannot just say, yes. My answer is no. It depends entirely on your understanding of where you want to be. When I'm dreaming, I am fighting another battle that is happening now in a higher realm. The astral is a place where we can visit and do what we need to do in another way. A timeline is something that is experienced. So that is my take on that question. Thank you.
Wonderful perspective.
And I like the polarity of perspectives. That's what allows discussions to grow. I appreciate you, Vision. I'm gonna go down to Azrael and just introduce yourself, give us your understanding of portals, different aspects or facets of them.
Hey guys, first off, I just want to say that this subject is a good topic to discuss, and it definitely needs more acknowledgement. So I recommend everybody, to start tapping, sharing this with your friends, and those that might need to hear this, because this is something that as soon as I came up here, I started feeling channeling, and I'm thinking everybody's in the same vibration because what you guys are discussing is something that it's always been in our. Well, I was supposed to introduce myself. Anyways, I'm from A to Z. You swear, you pick whatever. But anyways, this is a big subject. Here that I
We're kind of losing you.
so yeah, and I'm going to understand. Pardon? Oh, you know what? Can you hear me? Let me move
We're
around.
losing you.
I'm in a. Let me go to the kitchen.
Yeah, maybe get closer to your router. There you go.
Okay.
It's looking
Can
good.
you hear me now? All right. No, I was going to say
Yes.
that this discussion, first off, needs acknowledgement. In other words, I think we all should start sharing, tapping, whatever needs to be done to drive more individuals here, because as a collective, I think it's part of this portal and in these portals that we're discussing here tonight, because they say, our eyes are the window to our soul, and that soul is within us is example of the sun in this universe. That soul within us is the universe. And I believe that our eyes will to our portal inside is the port to all, the collective, the universe, the universal consciousness. And the more that we talk about this, the more it's being revealed and looking within, that utilizing that portal that leads within ourselves. It shows there's no limitations. We can visualize goals, we can visualize everything that could be done and we can achieve as a species. So the belief system within us. We look and I am going to get in touch with the spirit side of me within me. How do we get there? We're going through that portal within in order for us to understand this. And as I'm observing more and more relating to that soul, as all these stars up in the sky, and trying to realize what is going on and how is this all connected, how is everything happening, and we see these stars, and once these stars are supposedly ending, they implode and they become black holes. And then I start to think, is it possible that that star became a portal when it imploded and became a black hole, and a child is born through the womb? So I believe those stars are souls in the sky are through a portal into the physical. And it's just an example of how we go within ourselves. Internal universe is, that reach through that portal. And I think the portal, when we look at it, is the port to all, the collective consciousness. I have
Thank
one
you.
bar, so that's why I cut it short.
No, you're fine. You were cutting out a little bit. I could understand everything you were saying, even when you were cutting out, because it was just enough to to pick it up. I really appreciate your views because it's true. Like there's so many different facets of portals, and there's so many different connections within that. I mean, even like you guys were talking about just thoughts, like that's you know we can get into like science and how it transmits into another being and they kind of receive your thought. Um, but in a perspective of just sitting here within this vessel, that's also another facet of a portal. It's just creating that entanglement that just happens to be a little, not too far away. But those thoughts also impede even when they're on the other side of the world. And next thing you know, they call you because they thought about you, because you thought about them. And, that thought entanglement, it just happens instantly. That's another facet of a portal. It's just, it kind of, it goes with every aspect when we really get into just spirit itself. Um, Eddie, would you like to introduce yourself and, give us your understanding of portals and different facets of them and so on and so forth? Thank you, Eddie.
Thank you. Happy equinox, everybody. Today, September 22nd, is the southern equinox. as the sun travels over the equator to the southern hemisphere in the first day of fall, which increases geomagnetic response in the atmosphere, causing an increase in northern lights and aurora borealis. So adventure on with that. I think that's healthy. Sounds good to me. And portholes, huh? Like being in a ship when you get the porthole. That's what I thought you guys were talking about. Portholes in a boat, which is the same, right? Because you're inside the boat and outside the porthole is a whole different reality, a whole different place. So the portal comes from Latin for porta. The word porta means door or gateway or gate. As a portal. So I think if I can make an analogy that the phone I'm holding is me, the service plan is the ether around me, the mysterious realm I'm in of interaction would be the service, the Wi-Fi service, and the phone. And now I have a portal in front of me. Now, what that portal can manifest with one way or the other through the portal, the door, gateway. So I think the manifestation coming through would be dependent on, so to say, the app on the phone or the software, which relies on the imagination of the creator of what can be manifested through a portal. Could be anything as far as time, experience, physical things, energy, thought, intention, etc., things I can't describe or think or feel, based on the imagination of the creator of the app maker. And I think that being said, this is a understanding of portals being very more umbrella term than one thing or another. I guess portal would be a broader term than I initially jumped into this live as I was thinking through this thought.
Thank you, Eddie. I appreciate that. Because no one's really talked about the technology aspect of portals. So, spiritually, people have accidentally tapped into things and experienced other things and have gotten validation from other testimonies of people that have talked about being able to tap into these physical man made portals and have experienced the same things physically as others experienced astrally. I spoke to somebody actually last night that had that experience. It happens. So there is this technology that we've been able to tap into high energy points within our own grid that allows that channel to be channeled. They're using different forms of it to, I guess you'd say, map out the situation. So entertainment purposes only, of course, but it's it's things that people have testimonies of, um, and it's really interesting. So these are things that people have been tapping into since existence, spiritually, because that's what we naturally are, is a part of that. We're not really separate from it. Um, so if we're going to look at technology, we are the technology within the technology, experiencing technology. I don't know, but I think we'll move on to the second round, which really just want to talk about any experiences we might have had. That can be through experiences of just even learning about portals, where um, things start to look at on a logical state, but actual experiences. A lot of people in the spiritual community have experienced portals through different practices. Some are just done in dreams, and a lot of that happens because of the practice of the person of enlightenment. We create these different energies. Some people practice healing while they sleep. those create different energies and put you in different levels of the astral as well, in my opinion. So, Fire Ash, would you like to start us off with experiences?
Um, oops, you caught me typing, and you know me. I can't do the whole type and talk thing. Personal experiences with portals, right? That's what you said?
Yes, just yeah, either personal experiences or even
Okay.
testimonies of other things that you've heard. Like, I've personally have
Yeah.
heard thousands, but it's all from
Mm-hmm.
different programs.
Oh, yeah. So, there's. Obviously, I'm not going anywhere, so I'm going to talk about this more than once. I've had a lot of experiences with portals, but one that you just kind of jogged the memory of, Chris, that I kind of hold near and dear was an experience that I myself had and then utilized it as a guided meditation, self trance, however you want to look at it, that I helped guide others through the same awakening and experience. And it very much so was transitionally portal based, where you could recognize it as one portal, but when you actually are going through it, you recognize that you're unlocking all of the gateways inside of you while you're walking this path and having this experience. You're also aligning with your chakras. And at the end, you align with your fire elements. So for some, they go with the phoenix. For some, they go with the dragon. There's been many different forms, but that one is ultimately the ring of fire at the end, the divine fire. So I kind of like that portal because it's one that I have solidified and consistently utilized and helped others utilize in their own systems.
Thank you. And that's the best way, anybody should do with any system that we do. Like this, that's just anything that we do, it needs to be resonating with us regardless. So, Vision was talking about awareness earlier, and awareness of things changes aspects, changes limitations, changes a lot of different things as awareness gains, and then we have our own awareness of others on paths that we might have been or still in or are right there with them. It just, and all that awareness is very healing for other people the more the awareness comes, because we have different reactions to these things that we see around us after we've healed from things ourselves. Which I'm getting off the path of portals. I do want to mention, if anybody requests, we do have a rule here on Spiritual Talk 369. It's a joint account, and you'll see a few different hosts throughout. Every Sunday we do a live. It's 9 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. So if you follow us now, then the next time you request, we will bring you up. But it's just our way of keeping this a safe place. That's why it was created, to give people to come and voice their opinions and views. We have great discussions here, and we usually go for 2.5, 3 hours, depending on the discussion and what everybody has going on for the night. So I'm gonna go ahead and move on to. We're just gonna move on to Vinny and go. I know the rotation was a little different last time. But Vinny, would you like to talk about any experiences you've had with portals, whether it's things you've read, or channeled or experienced firsthand through astral, or just happened to walk through a portal and next thing you know you were here? Like anything.
Okay, yeah, thank you. So I don't know if this really qualifies, but I'll just go with it. So I've had a recent experience I had deja vu, but it was different from what I normally have. Because usually deja vu, it's kind of like you get that like it's like a quick feeling, but this was like it was a more concrete feeling, like everything in it was like I was watching it was like I was reliving the exact same moment in perfect detail. And I remember saying, like, I've had this conversation with you before. We've talked about this. I thought we already discussed it. And they looked at me like I was crazy. So going in what Envision says is, it's all about, I guess being connected with yourself, right? So on this journey, there's levels. So as you go through this journey and get through levels, certain things open themselves up. And I say all that to say this. Is the other night I had a dream, and this dream was, I don't have many dreams, but this dream was about the future. I never dream about the future. I can tell you that. It's always been dreams about people from the past or things I've done. It's never been about the future, but this is a future event that I know I want to do, and it's going to happen, and I was there. So in essence, that might have been a portal in my dream to what might be coming, because I've been working on my connection, my relationship with myself and the higher realms. And in doing that and trusting in the process and releasing and just going with the flow, I've been able to, have these amazing experiences that as I go through day to day, it explains certain things that happen. So that's all I got to say on that.
Thank you. And I believe it can come true. There's a lot of things that manifest in our dreams. I have had things that there's no way I would have manifested them. Sometimes it was just literally somebody that I noticed in the future, and it happened a week later. And it was a customer that I was going to do a job for. And that's happened multiple times. And the more awareness that we gain, which, going through a lot of shadow work and really analyzing, reflecting on your life helps this awareness for when we feel deja vu, because you're already kind of trained yourself to do these reflections, and you can then it can trigger that dream and say, I dreamed about this, I remember it. It definitely happens. It's happened, and a lot of mine have not been things that would be like life-changing. It's just profound enough to I remembered the dream, and that was really about it. I have had dreams of, like, I used to race motocross, and I've had dreams that I got a certain place at nationals, and I happened to get that place at nationals. Which wasn't a place that I was shooting for. I went first, but there was a time that I got 36th, and I dreamed that I got 36 at the end of nationals, and I happened through a different play of measure, because I had my bike had broken down one moto. I ended up getting 36th. It was, it's just weird how these things happen. So. I'm gonna move on. Can you hear me okay, by the way? Because it's raining here. I just want to make sure.
Oh, great.
Okay, thank you. I'm gonna move on to Innovision, and we'll just talk about experiences with portals yourself, and with, you know, to reflect on your understanding of portals. Thank you.
Thank you, Chris. Welcome. Isn't that when we go to Walmart? Is that not entering another portal to another world? We are given many examples of different places that we don't understand. And we must build ourselves up to reach that point. To be able to walk through that door, that gateway, that portal, by understanding how to properly approach a portal, giving it the proper respect, being resonant to it, sympathetic to the experiences that we may experience. Being ready to discover that which we do not know. Yes, we know where the bacon is. Yes, we know where the socks are. You don't know what's going to happen before you get there. There are many portals that we just avoid because we are not ready. Because deep down inside, we know the truth that either we are ready or we are not. The day, the night, the season we are in, we are all experiencing a portal. Entry of it. Whether or not we want to continue doing what we've been doing or step up and do something else. These are decisions that we must face when we face a portal. It is not just a place where we can just go through and be who we are in another place. No, we have to be someone entirely different when we go through that portal. Perhaps it's a gaining of a level of understanding where you're put into a position where you have to do what's right. And if you don't, something entirely different will happen. That's a portal. We've been taught to believe that, yeah, it's a magical, shiny doorway of opportunity. It is that, an opportunity, yes. In this 3D matrix, it is an opportunity. We can look at them as we drive by. We're given examples of this all the time. When you see a 7-Eleven, when you see a Circle K, Scottish Lorraine. That is a decision that is forced upon us, this portal. Whether or not we want to adhere to its demands is another question. Yeah, we've all experienced those portals, whether we see it in our children or we see it in our parents. We see it in our brothers and sisters. We see them going through portals all the time, and there's nothing we can do about it. The only portal we can have any control over is that which we have awareness of. So yes, my experience is every day in many portals.
Thank you, Innovation. I appreciate you tremendously. And that's correct. Like the smallest facets of our lives to the largest ones that made a huge impact on us. We're usually not aware of the subtle ones. I appreciate it. Thank you. I'm going to move on to high voltage. And would you like to just talk about experiences, any facet of that, just your experiences? Thank you.
I would, and I'd like to come back, like I said in the first round, back to the human being the most divine portal. And the womb often goes unnoticed as a portal that brings consciousness to manifest form. But we also have what even goes more overlooked within the human being would be our senses, and them being portals, as in when I have a smell and it brings me back, I can remember my grandmother. I can go back to a moment in time, back in the timeline, and that itself is a portal. But also in what we intake through our senses, and becoming what gets put out into our manifest physical lives. So when we intake things through our eyes and ears and what we speak and all of these things, these portals within the human instrument, we are then putting out, as in like a portal would, everything that we're taking in. And so I think those portals often go unnoticed or overlooked, as well as the fact that I believe that the portals that we can experience, whether it be in the astral realm or in realms of consciousness or whatever you want to take and divide unity into, the truth of the matter is, I believe, at least for myself, that I believe we never left unity, and the illusion is the duality. So within this human instrument, all portals exist, and so the keys lie within there. And I believe that we can travel through timeline, which I believe is a way to track now, because anything that ever happened only happened in the present moment. So the timeline is really just a line to track present moments. And so again, the illusion of separation or that we ever left unity is beyond me. And so I think that itself is a huge portal.
Definitely. You know, my friends and I talk about that quite often, actually, and we it's the and we look at it. I look at it. I don't speak for anybody. I'm sorry. I look at it as like the separation, the illusion of that is for the experience itself within the all, and that that entanglement of everything creates that connection even in this separation to where all of our data still is going to that same source. But definitely 100% like unity. We really are all connected. Even in our own duality, we have duality with ourselves, and even in the unity can still have duality. Just a sine wave has its ups and its downs. It has its duality even within that same level of frequency that we measure. It's so it, but it
I,
go ahead. I'm sorry.
I agree with you 100% on that. I think duality is actually, in a sense, unity, because they work with each other. So even with the darkness or shadow, what could the light reflect off of? What could it show itself off of without the shadow?
Most
You know?
definitely.
So they work in hand. And so that is unity in itself.
I agree. That's like the equal and opposite reactions. So as we breathe in, we take away from our space around us, and it creates that equal and opposite reaction. And then as we exhale, it's the same thing. That's a very simple explanation, but that goes with every aspect of everything. When light turns into an electron, it also turns into a positron. That positron more than likely creates atoms somewhere else in the universe, um, as the duality, um, compared to what the electron conforms into atoms here. So it's, there's a duality in a lot of, a lot, and it's in everything from the micro to the macro, and it's beautiful because that's a part of existence, in my opinion.
Absolutely. The reason that we get to experience I am, what can I become?
Definitely. We wouldn't be able to. I'm 100% with you. I'm gonna go ahead and are you finished with that part on this round? Can you stick around?
I will try my best to stick around, and yes, I am finished. Thank you so much for holding space.
No problem. Thank you. Much love. Let's see if Azrael can chime in. See how his. You're still down to one bar, but obviously we're gonna give it a shot. Um, so Az, keep it real. Let's talk about your experiences. You sound like you're underwater. Yeah, you're cutting out pretty bad. It's hard to make out what you're saying. Can you do 3 jumping jacks and... No, I'm joking.
Heard that
Well,
clear.
it's I'm
Yeah, exactly.
well, I'm moving around because behind
There you
me
go.
it's about
Right
200
here.
yards away. Yeah, about 200 yards from me is a cemetery, and the weather's pretty bad, so I think it's got something to do with sometimes where I get frequencies. But anyways, alongside me, here on TikTok, learning and helping myself and helping you guys with our spiritual journey and growth. I also, practice and study various occult beliefs and such. And um, in my area, there is a cemetery called Forest Home, and it was actually built alongside a Potawatomi Native of American area. So there's a lot of plots, a lot of stuff that is there that are related to, let's say, the Order of the Eastern Star, the a lot of Masonic lodges, the Order of Oddfellows, the Druids, and everything. But in the occult, I study a lot of Druid, and it was always intrigued by Merlin the Wizard and the stories that I heard about Merlin the Wizard and such. So this cemetery has a lot of supernatural activity going on. And no, it's not the one next to me. The one next to me is old, but it's not that one. So anyhow, it Coco, go over there. So anyhow, for many years I have been going there. I've experienced many things, and I've been trying to crack a puzzle that's inside there because there's a lot of secret stuff in there, like symbols and signs and stuff like that. And I seen this monument, which it was built in 1888. It's actually dedicated to Merlin the Wizard. It has a druid on top of it, and it has a lot of symbols. He's holding various things in there. And as I observe it, I utilize the Wheel of Fortune tarot card. And as I'm looking at it, there's a lot of layouts that, like, there's a small Stonehenge in there, and many things that are inside there. And the more that I was connecting everything inside that cemetery, I've got to a point where I was reaching east side of specific area because it's like a puzzle. And for about 5 6 seconds, my recollection was actually shifted where I felt like I walked through something. And as I observed, I seen everything with a hue. You know, the colors, they were more vivid colors. Um, and when they were more vivid, I also felt the presence of me being there, but in a different time, maybe like hundreds of years ago, like when that place was first created. When the first, the place was first there. But I left there shook. I was disorientated, and I definitely believe there is portals and there's routines that all of us can also find within the ley lines and stuff that's within this place here on Earth. And that's why we have these discussions and such, where I believe we could come to the answers. And like I mentioned and made a reference earlier that this discussion definitely needs a lot more acknowledgement, and because this is the first time I myself am hearing anybody speak about it. And I definitely believe we have portals within, portals around, but then there's these other portals that are uh, supernatural portals, and I definitely believe there are keys. That's why there's groups that are out there. I guess they call gatekeeping wisdom, gatekeeping a lot of stuff, because it in tunes to, especially today, today. And I don't see how it ties, but now that it's being brought up, being the equinox today on September 22nd, 14 years ago to the day, I had a UFO experience, and it was on September 22nd, and it was 14 years today. And you guys are talking about this, and I'm trying to see, like I said, it's not about me, it's about us, it's all about the collective. And I think each of us holds pieces, and the more as a collective that we are able to communicate and talk to this, we can encourage one another, that even within those dreams that we have, you know these thoughts that we have in our minds, and where we go into those dreams, are portals. Because that energy that we talk about, we all can agree that energy cannot be destroyed, it can only be transmuted. So when we're in that neutral state of resting, whether it's sleeping or unaliving or such, I definitely believe we still continue, but in maybe something that we're still seeking. I don't have no physical proofs. It's only my interpretations. And you know I know that when we rise, that energy comes back to us, because we came back from that other portal, that the other end where that energy was being utilized. So I think it's constantly, when we feel that we're asleep and such, and we see these images and these dreams, nightmares, wherever you call it, it's actuality. But the human individual design doesn't comprehend it. But I definitely believe it starts within ourselves, and whatever we can feel within ourselves and interpretate as we speak in words through our experiences and such, we are able to actually self-reflect and see how everything is connected. And it's deep. And I don't know where to go with the subject, because I can talk about it. So I'm gonna yield.
There is a lot to talk about. It's there's just because there is so many different facets. I'm glad you brought up natural portals, because there's a lot of people that have experienced these supernatural natural portals, that don't necessarily. It's almost like it's the person itself has to be resonating within a certain level as it's passing through, as well as way I've kind of taken with as so many testimonies that I've either read about or just listened about, where people have literally vanished in front of them walking through different places, woods usually, areas in nature, and they just vanish. Sometimes they can faintly hear them for a very short period of time, and sometimes they can't. Sometimes they've just found tracks that nobody saw them, disappear, but they found tracks in the snow to literally nothing. And it just kind of fits in with a lot of these stories. So, and some of these have been like park rangers that know these areas very well. So it's really interesting when you get into natural portals and ley lines. Um, do you have anything else to add to at the moment, Azrael?
Yeah, yeah. You know what? I also want
Do
to,
you have anything else to add to at the moment?
yes, I do. I do want to add something. I do mention experience when I was like 14 years old, when I used to visit my grandmother, and I was talking to an entity which was a Bigfoot. We call it Sasquatch, Bigfoot, whatever you want to call it, and it did not delve to me that my family and some individuals were aware that I was talking to this, and to this day, I was trying to figure out where was this place after I went with this entity, and I thought about it, and when I was with the entity, we were going through a portal because it was not a physical place there, but I was in the presence of the entity. And every time that I went with the entity, because I was trying to like, where would the house be where I was going to? Because I was going to with it, its others that were like him, like family or what they were. I'm not sure if they were parents or what it was, but we were going through a portal, and every time that I returned, it was the same scenario. So it was not a physical place, because I try to think about it. I don't recall there was a forest where my grandmother lived, but there was trees. But it was a portal. But I can't explain it. I was 12 to about 14 years old in this experience.
And that's amazing, though, just to be aware of what you did experience, because it is difficult. My first strong awakening when I was 12 years old, and I really didn't understand a lot of it until quite a few years later. Um, so I appreciate you, Azrael. I'm gonna go ahead and move on to Yes You Are, and just want to say welcome. I appreciate you at Yes You Are, and go ahead and just give us your understanding of portals, the different facets of it, and maybe go ahead and talk about some experiences that you've had, and we'll go from there. Thank you.
Okay. Yeah, thank you for that introduction. And I just wanted to make sure I'm not echoing, because am I echoing at all?
No, you sound great.
All right, cool. Thank you for having this discussion, and hello everybody. I know pretty much everyone here. Um, yeah, so portals. It's funny what Azrael was talking about with the Sasquatch, because I posted something today about a man who had an experience with a Bigfoot, and he said that this Bigfoot had told him that they have access to portals. They can just create portals, and he created a portal and went to like another world where it was just like ours, but all Bigfoot, and they had pyramids, and he said, and magnetic transportation and vehicles and houses just like us. And they were watching the TV, and he asked, what are you watching? He goes, oh, we're watching you guys on Earth. And so I'd never heard that experience today, and then Azrael just mentioned it about the portals. um, Most of my knowledge of portals really comes from literature, which really helps us. If I guess if you love reading, you'll come across, especially ancient stuff. You'll come across the idea or someone using a portal. And the first time I think it was really conveyed to me was in one of Barbara Hand Cloud's book, where she was going through her past lives, and she had access to all her past lives, so she was going through all the pain so that she can process all this past life stuff. And one of those lives, she was a Druid initiate and had just graduated from 18-year mastery school, and she had like a bag of runes that had energy, and she was looking at the land. She was like a keeper of the land, and she was actually like to the king. She was his second like hand man, like to the kingdom. But
It was during one of her when she was talking and teaching the king's son math at a table, and she had to go do some business, and she literally opened a portal and jumped into this portal and emerged underneath the castle, where she had to take care of these men and do this stuff in this room. And after she took care of her business, she filled the room with aquamarine energy and then opened the portal. And she had described the portal too, which is pretty cool. She said it resembles a cosmic slit, like a cosmic slit, and then came right back into her body, and I guess at a point for master druids and masters at one time, they could like jump out of their body and actually be somewhere else and do things physically, and then come back and enter the portal and come right back into their bodies, is what I gathered. So that was my first idea of like, wow, what these portals are. And then, eventually learning and reading from different people's experiences, I had my own experience with portals when I had discovered orbs in 2009, when I started cropping them and started seeing into them and unlocked something in my mind. And what I realized is that I started opening portals for them just naturally. I'd never done that before in my life, but I felt inclined to go to get some dowsing rods, go to ley lines, and get into a certain energy or a certain trance and open these portals on ley lines and clear them and open the frequency for these orbs to come into the world and do stuff like that. So that was interesting because I'd never done anything like that, but I felt inclined to do it. So without sitting here thinking and listening to everyone's experiences, I think about my emotions and how our energy centers in our body are like portals, and even like these words, like all these energy centers are producing these words, which may be opening a portal for right now through the vibration that I'm speaking. And then connected to the body are these portals that open up certain gates of awareness and feelings. So we literally are living portals, if you think about it, pure living portals, and especially when we go to sleep, we awaken to another state when let's say you're out of the body. And if you're out of the body and conscious and you think of a portal, all of a sudden a portal appears. It looks like a circle or something to another world. And you can travel through it and enter that world. So I believe this portal theory is probably something that we have all within us, some kind of inner power, some kind of inner awareness that we have some kind of connection with, which probably like has to do with like a piece of paper, and if you draw a line on a piece of paper, it takes that time, but if you fold it, you can just be right there at that moment. So with everything being connected, I wouldn't doubt if it all creates some kind of system, which is like a natural system of transportation or teleportation or portal energy that connects everything, and with our awareness, and we could probably influence things and go places beyond our imaginations. But as far as my own experience with portals, besides that experience right there, it's still a beautiful topic for me. I'm glad you brought it up. Spiritual talk.
Thank you. That's beautiful. Now, like as far as I was just, what do you think about the orbs that you manifest? And I think you touched upon this. It's raining here, so some things are kind of hard to play out. But do you believe that it could be a portal of that spirit coming in within an orb? And what do you think about that? This is
Yeah.
this is Crystal Chris, by the way. I don't.
Oh,
I'm
okay.
just I'm hosting on here tonight. I just want to make sure you knew that.
All right. All right. Cool. Yeah. So definitely. like, when I discovered them and found out that like they were either always around me or I could manifest them. One thing I noticed, is that if I wasn't in a vibratory mood or a high frequency, I would take pictures of myself all day and there would be hardly anything. But as soon as I sit down and meditate and be myself and be a little bit more than myself, feel a little bit more than myself, to where I could feel like I'm floating instead of walking, and then where I feel like I'm, becoming something beautiful, like a tree or something, then they would come in, So definitely, I feel like the reason why it's so easy to produce them is because of the vibration of love. And love for me, I don't see it as just something that is still and just there. I actually try to envision it as something that I haven't touched yet, even though I feel it, and so being able to open myself to, a higher collective feeling of unity is, I think, is what really brings them in, and that could be a portal in its own consciousness, a feeling of being so connected to everything that it transcends a feeling of being alone and lonely. And I love the music in the background, by the way.
It definitely helps the mood. I agree. I mean, a portal is just really just a perception, and innovation really touched on the awareness of that. Because, like for instance, as we rise in through dimensions, we perceive it as a portal as we go through it, but it's just a different level. It's like a channel, it's just a different channel that we go through. And as you like fade back away from that, you still perceive the all. But we look at it as a portal. Like there's a lot of things that we look at as portals. Especially when we get into a level where we're starting to perceive blends of dimensions, in my opinion. So we're gonna start seeing a lot more of this portal action happening through that, in my opinion. But I appreciate you, James. You're amazing.
My brother.
I'm gonna move on to Beth. She's amazing as well. Would you like to go ahead and introduce yourself? Give us your, just understanding of portals, different facets of that, and then also experiences, please.
Well, I think everybody knows me, but hi. I feel like I'm at an AA meeting or something. I'm bad. um, you're right. Yeah, you two just explained it perfectly. I don't think I could put it into more beautiful words. Like, you are essentially the channel, you are essentially the portal. It's like Azrael talking about his experience. If he could go back to that original feeling, then he could go back to that experience where it would be in the moment now. So it is just a perspective or a lens of which we view our within self of. As far as experience, my whole life is an experience. Like, I'm all the time, both here and other places. So
I agree, 100%. I wasn't sure if you were finished, but you are. Like when we talk about multiverses, multidimensional, the facets of that, how we're connected within that, we create that polarity of those different timelines, and it's just a reaction all the way down. It's yeah.
well, I mean, essentially, you can explain it scientifically if you want to. I mean, it's just magnetism. If you take two forces in a body of water and you push them toward each other, create whirlpools, or they're going to create portals because of the force of the motion. So that's literally what you're doing. The positive and the negative is pulling each other together in order to see a more vast picture of it, in order to actually come back apart. Sorry, I almost dropped my phone.
No, I agree. Like now you're talking something that creates an instant reaction that could be also looked at as a portal. It's 100%. Do you have anything else you want to add to on this round, or?
No, I don't think so. I'm just listening.
Okay. All right. I love you, Beth. The second round, I don't really have any questions. I know it's a deep topic, and it's really just open discussion at that point. We'll still go in rotation, but meaning you can just talk about whatever it is that you would like to talk about. And so there's no base questions. You don't have to talk about experiences. You can just talk about anything that's in relation to portals, since we have all discovered just in this first round that there's a lot of different facets to portals. So there's really a lot to talk about. Um, like Vision said, we go through these every day. Every day we go through portals as we're healing and moving in whatever ways that we're moving. Because there's different facets of healing. You could sit and rest. Sometimes you have to move to get through that too. There's proper applications for every situation. So Fire Ash, would you like to go ahead and just start off the next round? And
Actually, I'd like to give Robin a chance to.
oh, I'm sorry, I forgot.
No, it's okay. I've invited her up and Beth, so I know you've been doing your host thing.
I would too. I'd like to give you a chance, Robin. I apologize.
You're
Would you
good.
like to talk about your understanding of portals and experiences? So I feel like a bad host now. So I'll get over it though.
You're good. Sure, I don't mind. I'm sitting outside right now, so I'm hoping that the cars aren't too much of a noise. As far as portals for me, I don't know like what else been said, but I kind of see it as, I mean, I know there are portals in this world, but I would like to also say that I think that we are portals in ourselves. In the fact of, like we are able to communicate with other dimensions or other beings, and we have that ability, like as far as like our higher self, like when we communicate with our higher self during meditation, that makes us like a portal. And so for me, I would work more in that aspect, within myself than as a physical portal in the world, which I know those exist as well. But that would be where I would kind of say, or my standpoint on it, to be honest.
I agree. I appreciate that. And we've been discussing that throughout the night, and we love to hear people's experiences with it. Do you have anything else you would like to contribute on this round with that, Robin?
No, I think I'm good on that part. Thank you. Thank you for having me.
I appreciate you. Thank you. I would like to go with Eve. And since I brought you up, we're just talking about portals and different facets of portals, from physical portals to spiritual portals within ourselves, natural portals to technology portals. But whatever you'd like to contribute, just introduce yourself, and just talk about your understanding of portals and maybe some experiences.
Yes, thank you. And my dog is Eve. My name is Alicia. And I'm so happy to be here talking with you, beautiful souls. And there are all different types of portals, but I'll never forget an experience I had when I was just a kid. I was probably about 6 years old. And this experience like periodically pops back into my head, and I think about it because it was so profound, and I know it wasn't just a dream. So what transpired was I had an out of body experience, and I don't know why, considering I wasn't sick or anything, so it wasn't like a near death experience, but my soul actually left my body. They could actually, I was looking down at my own body. I was like sort of floating up, and I could see myself in my footsie pajamas in my canopy bed. And then suddenly, what seemed to be an actual portal opened up into my bedroom. I know it sounds so out there, but this is something I never forgot. And there's no way my young mind could have fathomed this as a dream, considering I never saw anything like this in movies or books or anything. So anyway, a portal opened, and I could sense that I was being guided, and I was like, I couldn't see who was guiding me, but I telepathically heard, "Come with me." And then I traveled through the portal, and it was like a vortex. And I remember seeing it was like a super long vortex and like many colors spiraling around in it. And then I don't recall where I went, but then I recall that later on, I was guided back out of the portal back into my bedroom, and I was told, "Time to go back." And I saw my body again and floated back into my body. So I was curious about whether anyone else had an experience of that nature.
Does anybody in the panel have they had an experience like that? I've personally had NDEs, but when I came back, it was pretty all of a sudden. It was pretty like jarring, really. But that's amazing. I, and I know what I know what your name is. I just I just want to make sure on TikTok that you don't mind to be called
Oh, I
by your
don't
first
mind.
name.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Um. So, do you have any other experiences you'd like to talk about? As far as anything that it seems like a lot of people have had young experiences like that when we're already in that high vibrant like childhood stages. It's amazing that I've never personally have seen like a portal come up in front of me, but I've experienced going through something where I transitioned to where everything shifted around me, where I know I went into a different place. And I've also went through a stage where I went into a coma, and that's kind of how I experienced it as well. Everything just shifted around me, and I was living a different life. And I was in the coma for roughly a month, give or take a few days, and I experienced roughly a 35-year life as somebody else. It was really interesting. So I had a lot of weird aspects in my late teens and early 20s of fading from remembrance of that. But anyways, do you have anything else as far as, I'm sorry, I don't remember if you answered.
I did have another experience with like an energy portal because I have this old hippie artist friend, and he's sort of like a druid in a way because of what he created. So he created this sanctuary with lots of standing stones, like sort of like Stonehenge, like huge like megalith stones that he they put in all different patterns around his property, and he especially utilized huge pieces of quartz too, because that generates a lot of energy. And he really did like create like an energy portal. Like you can physically feel the energy there, and it's so healing. And also it's right near a major ley line, like actually a natural world energy vortex is right near there too, because did you ever like look at a map of the world, ley lines, the energy grid of the world? And
I
there's
had.
certain areas where so many ley lines intersect, and one of them is in that region, which it's in Shelburne Falls, which isn't far from where he created that. So the energy is so divine and healing there. And again, another natural energy vortex location is like, say, Sedona, Mount Shasta, Cairo, Egypt. There's many around the world. So that was pretty interesting. And I actually made some TikTok videos about it. There's also like this big dragon he created on the property, which is beautiful. Like you put like stone glass and crystals in it, and it's over this fireplace, so it actually breathes fire. And what he created there is just absolutely amazing. If interested, like you'll find it on my TikTok. I made like several videos of it.
That's awesome. And yes, we talk about that a lot. The ley lines that create natural energy and then amplify, and even what channels they create, where they go, depending on the even what kind of portals we're going through as far as energy stages that are coming into the earth. There's a lot of relevance to that. It's really interesting.
And I believe like there's certain souls that are on a mission here to like be grid workers and go to those certain areas and really send those good high vibrations to that energy grid, because I think it also connects to the human collective consciousness too. And, we do need to send those good vibes and intentions to the collective consciousness and also the energy of this realm. We want to like anchor in source energy and spread it. So when I go there, to those energy vortexes, like I make sure I'm anchoring in source energy, and actually you could just feel it. And the source energy is always in us, but I feel as though we can anchor more into this realm of darkness and just radiate it and spread it, and it's so far-reaching, especially when you're in those locations, those special locations too. It's so far-reaching.
Eve, or I'm sorry, Alicia, you asked a question, and you really just answered your own question
Yeah,
to the
true.
panel. And it's beautiful. It's beautiful. And honestly, what I wanted to bring to the table with what you're saying in conjunction to that is the oracle. That is what you call the oracle, or what we call the oracle. An oracle is a type of grid worker, as you're calling it. When you're looking at it in the reference to the actual energy working of it, I'm just telling you on the esoteric side of it, that's what the oracle is.
Oh.
It's a location and a vessel, both.
Yeah, so that's why I'm so like happy. I know that my old druid, like I used to call him my druid friend. He's not, well, he like in a way he does things that the druids did, like especially what he created was absolutely amazing. Definitely go check out the videos that I posted about it. You might have to like scroll back, because I'm consistently like making videos every day, but you'll notice it. Especially there's look for the dragon. Because that I think I highlight showcase the whole place, but you'll definitely see the dragon in it too, as that will stand out to you when you're scrolling through to look for it. But yeah, he's definitely one of those. And when I became good friends with him. He's like 75 years old, and he's still even expanding it. Like he's creating another section with the big megalith stones that he's putting in like sort of like an infinity symbol like pattern, and he's calling it the circle of life. It's so profound. and he's like letting me know of the process, like showing me pictures of the progress. It's absolutely amazing. And like I said, the energy there is so divine, especially since he used lots of huge pieces of quartz. I don't even know where he got them. Like quartz pieces of quartz that are taller than me, and I'm like 5'9". Yeah, and like I said, the even bigger megaliths too, all throughout there. It's absolutely amazing energy vortex that he created.
Yeah, I would like to, like, we see that a lot around the world, these stone circles. And there's a lot of people have went and actually tested these, so they do it by just how they perceive the energy itself without any devices, and then they measure the devices. And some of them have been knocked down, and some of them have a very unpleasant energy, and they don't believe that's what was supposed to be. They just believe that something has been altered. And then some have an amazing energy within that they just feel like a huge relief just sitting within it. So it's awesome. And
I'll send you the videos. There's many different sections to this huge standing stone sanctuary he made, and plus there's beautiful gardens and sculptures throughout it too. It's absolutely amazing. But anyway, there's this particular spot in there where if he told me to like stand between these two giant stones and outreach arms from one to the other, and you can actually feel like it's like painless electricity surge through you.
That's awesome. Yes, definitely send me that.
I'll
send
send
it to
you
me
the
on Discord.
videos.
Awesome.
Well, I don't really utilize the Discord as much anymore, but I'll send it to you in here.
Okay, that's fine.
Mm-hmm.
Awesome. Well, I'm gonna move on to Gabe. I appreciate you, Alicia.
Thanks, I appreciate you.
Gabe, we're discussing portals. We're talking about first just an introduction, and then also your understanding of portals plus your experiences. There's lots of different facets to them. So, if you wanna speak about portals?
Sure.
Awesome. Thank you.
All right. I'll just give you just an example of I got to experience one in a physical aspect. I was recently in Mexico, and I was able to travel through the Yucatan Peninsula to a sacred cenote that very seldom people get to visit. And I forgot how to pronounce it in Spanish, but it's basically called the entrance to the bees. And when you go there, it's like something that you've never heard before. It's like our bodies, our minds, our sound frequencies, because we're so distorted with like so many human type sounds, like sirens, a lot of noise, cars honking, alarms. Well, when you're out there, it's like you hear sounds of crickets and animals and insects and stuff that you've never heard. So I was like basically stayed in a meditative state and was able to like stay in that theta state. And when I heard the echoes through the cave, it like did something to me to where it created like a mind frequency, like a portal for me. When I stepped into that water and when I went in, I truly felt that there was an energetic portal that my body has like did a whole complete like transformation. And after I was submerged from that place, and I was remembering just like I felt like this was like a feeling I've never felt before. And just staring there was like I can feel the honey. I can see the honey dripping from the cave, and it was like making that little boop, boop, boop. I could hear the little like sounds. It's like I became like Spider-Man. Like I can hear every single thing. I can hear bats flying around. I can hear like all the different like levels of frequencies. And it was like the most amazing thing I've ever experienced in my life. So when I dried off and I was walking out, my friend Serenity was videotaping me. I didn't know she was videotaping me, and she just saw this like vortex of all these like butterflies just flying around me, like just circling me, like I was like I became one of them. right? And I truly believe that, like, I literally, like, spiritually went through like a portal in that water, in that cave, in that experience. I That's, to me, that's my definition of a spiritual portal, because, like, ever since then, I can like literally transfer through my meditation, like through wormholes in my mind. I can create, like, I can say things, or see people, and then all of a sudden they'll text me or call me, right? Or they'll pop up on somewhere on Facebook, or I mean not Facebook, TikTok, or their name will come up, or, like, just certain things like that. It's just like, man, ever since I was just dialed into it, I truly feel that there was something energetically that was just gifted for me at that place. Because I've been to Sedona. My grandparents used to live in Sedona. I used to go there a week, every week. I mean, for a week, for a year. Every year I'd go there for a week, and I took all those places for granted. But, like, now that I go back through my Rolodex of my experiences, I've been to Chichen Itza, I've been to Mexico, I've been to Hawaii, I got married in freaking Lahaina. Like, I've been all over Jamaica. I'm well traveled and everything, and I took for granted all these places that I've been to. But it was like, man, like, the spirit's telling me, like, you weren't meant to acknowledge it at that time. Like, the now when I'm ready for you in your spirit, you're going to be able to transfer your energy, because I've been to Mount Shasta, all these other places that have these vortexes, right? But I never was in tune, so my divine instrument was off. But now that I am in tune, and I am one with myself and one with the creator, now it's like I can close my eyes and like think to those places, be at the Red Rocks, be in the vortex at the of Mount Shasta. I can feel, like, how cold it was that day. Like, it's so fascinating, like, how powerful our minds are, right? And it's like, I'm not seeing these vortexes with my two eyes. I'm seeing it with my internal eye, and it's like something I've never ever experienced before. And I really feel that it's something that those bees, the vibration of the bees, did something to me, because they were in a cave, in a hole in a cave, and in that cave there was rocks that were, like, touching the water, and you can hear the bees, like vibrating in the cave, and that rock that was hanging over into the water was vibrating the water, and I was in it, and it was like something in that vibration changed me mentally, spiritually, and I can't even put it into words, but I know that there is, like, vortexes and portals that are of that consist of nature's form, highest harmonic form. And and to me, just my opinion and my experience, I believe we can reach those vortex through sound frequencies. I truly believe that your body, your mind, and your heart has to match that nature's frequency, and that's when you can go in and you can come out of it. And I don't think it's like what we think it is, like just stepping into it and then you physically end up somewhere else. I think that part that we see on movies and stuff, I think it's the imagination key that turns inside of our minds. And I think that that's what pressurizes my head, and it planted those thoughts and those visions and those images within me to experience that, because I saw nothing but pebbles being dropped into my pond in my mind, and it was like showing me that I'm just a body of water that's just been remoleculed, designed. Like, I can see all this stuff happening. And when I left there, that shaman guy that I was with, he was just like, bro, like, there's a handful of people that's actually been to this place. This place is like, and I don't know why I felt content to bring you and Serenity out here, but I lived in Mexico all my life, and you guys were the first two people that I've ever brought out here. And to me, it was just like, that was me the divine creator and the universe showing me, I see what you've been doing in your backyard. I see that you shut off all your wants and your needs and everything in this world. I see what you went through with the loss of the transition of your two sons and the loss of your marriage and your business and your job and all that. I see that, but you still kept faith. You still kept your faith, and now we're going to honor your faith because now you became one with us. That's the only way that I can, that's the best words I can explain to you. And it was like giving me permission to enter into that portal, if that makes sense.
Oh, it does. Um, uh, so just experiences themselves are portals. You know, when we have these profound experiences, I personally believe that frequency itself is where we get these different levels of consciousness. So we utilize tools to do so. That allows us to have that experience, and you can always go back to that. I have a question. Do you go back to those moments that you've experienced through meditation? Okay. What I was getting at is like, I personally believe the higher levels of energy that we produce within ourselves on a natural state, of course, which we utilize tools that we can reflect back on to experience that again, to be within that. It does create that more stronger awareness and connection to the divine, where you start picking up all these different gifts like you have been, which is amazing. Which I've been listening to for a while now on TikTok, and I appreciate you. It's been nice seeing you through your journey, and your experiences shine a lot of light on a lot of people, and I just want to say that it's received, and you know, it's been seen. So I appreciate you, brother. Um, go
Thank you
ahead.
for having me.
Mhm. I'm gonna move to Sarah Lynn, because she hasn't spoken yet, and we're just talking about portals, all different facets of portals, and just talk about, introduction. Everybody knows you, though. Everybody knows everybody on this panel. I don't know why I keep saying that. But just your experiences on portals and understandments. Appreciate you.
Yeah, thanks. It's a pleasure to be here. Yeah, portals are interesting. There's a lot of different kinds of portals, and they can take you different places. Most of those places aren't here in the physical. I do believe there are certain places here in the physical that can transport you to places that are a mix of physical and non-physical. So I have experienced some of those in childhood, which was an interesting experience. But portals are, to a big degree, mental, a construct of the mind, because they take us to places that we can't reach with our present consciousness. So they are an energy, a vibration, and a frequency. The interesting thing that a lot of people don't know, I know I've seen a couple people put in the comments that music is a portal. I don't know that music is necessarily a portal, but it can certainly open them, because I do believe that they are vibrational frequencies. But other things that you can do, sigils can be portals as well. So if you have a specific place that you like to go astrally, and you maybe can't figure out how to get there, but you can remember what it looks like, you can create a portal to get back to that same space. I've utilized this specific technique in many meditations where I've either come out of the meditation too quickly or couldn't remember what all transpired during that meditation. And it's fairly easy to do. It's just a way to kind of bring yourself back to that resonance, because sometimes when we come out of that meditation or when we come out of that experience, we don't remember how we got there to begin with. So it's kind of like opening the door to get back to where you were.
Yes, perfect. And it takes preparation it can get scary if you just go one place, like, how do I get back? And usually, honestly, in my experience, like, anytime I went in the astral, and fear always drew me back to my body. It was my own defense mechanism that I created, but those are all portals. It's experiences that we can go back to, whether it's just that energy itself, and that energy can be a residual energy and pass on to something else in another experience. That happens a lot, but I appreciate you, Sarah. Is there anything else you would like to contribute on this round? And you're going to come up soon anyways, because I'm just going to go back down.
Not unless you had like a specific question. I can't think of anything else to add specifically on, portals and what they actually are.
Okay. No, I don't have any questions right now. So it's Sunday evening. I'm just going with the flow, to be honest. But I'm gonna go ahead and go back up top and go to Fire Ash, and I don't know if we should do continue the discussion, but we're probably gonna go roughly between 30 minutes to an hour. So, but I would like everybody to give a shout out to themselves, anything that they, anything they have going on TikTok or any other apps. So just make sure you do that on this round, because as far as community, that's a good thing about community is, we all have to survive in this economy, and it's nice to be able to just give yourself a shout out to promote small businesses. So, thank you. But yeah, go ahead, Fire Ash. I know you have plenty of experiences you can talk about. Anything you would like to discuss about portals? Thank you.
Yeah. So I kind of want to look out for a moment. More recent portals that have been pretty eye-opening for me and really enhancing my awareness. And I've been experiencing those with my partner in the union that we've created in that frequency. And we've experienced new chakra points, higher alignments with that. And in that, I recognize so much the truth in the the points. It's just the points where the layers touch each other and you can see into the other. Feel it, experience it, however you're going to perceive it and receive it. the sacred dance, yeah. The unity in the duality, as we talked about earlier, the creation. Much love, Sarah Lynn. I appreciate you. The beauty of portals is that they allow for the safety of what is to experience the vastness of the other. I know, like, with one of the most physical portals I've experienced outside of my more recent adult times, it actually, you would say, Chris, that it was a high vibrational, but it actually, for me, was all about perspective. Because I know that I've told that story to those that chose to listen throughout my life since it happened. And I realize how many different versions of me told that story and how many different perspectives. And I recognize the same in all. And the me just disappears in that essence. My strongest gift has always been my sight. And because of that, I would say that I see portals and channels and lines and avenues and the curvature of the smile on a loved one's face. And that I'll remain grateful and say thank you for an amazing evening.
No, thank you. I appreciate you very much. And that's everything you say is amazing. I've always loved your views. And especially, you're right, when we fade back to our experience, or to our perspective, to the all, like everything just fades away. And, you know, I think that's what makes the collective itself so unique, also, is all these different perspectives and different experiences of just perceiving energy, really, and all these different expressions of it, that energy. So it's amazing. Vinny, do you have any? You know, this is the kind of the final round. So to, you know, any final statements, but anything you would like to add to Portal's experiences, just talking about it, whatever you'd like to add to, Vinny.
Yeah, and I'll just start out and saying thank you, Chris. Another amazing live you did. This is my second time with you hosting a live, and you did an amazing job, so thank you. And before I get started on portals, one of the things I'm going to be working on in a not too distant future is a creative way of helping people deal with shadow work in more of a creative outlet so that they can help deal with some of the things that we all struggle with, you know, wrestle with on this journey. So that's coming up in the not too distant future. But so as far as portals, so for me, one of the things that I think is the biggest way to get to portals inside yourself is through your mind, and more specifically through your imagination. Because I know myself, I have a very vivid imagination, and that's one of my gifts. I can daydream and take myself somewhere else without actually moving. So I know that is creating a portal within myself to, you know, wherever, almost like a dream, but without actually going anywhere. And the imagination, creates these portals within ourselves, out of, whatever the situation. For me, it was more, I was living a life day to day that was driving me nuts. And everything I was trying was getting me nowhere and no answers were found. And it was through that, that confusion and that lostness, I was able to, find myself and really use my imagination to create the portal to get me to this point that I wanted to be at today. Granted, was it exactly the way I thought it was going to be? No. But is it what I needed it to be? Absolutely. So, in that case, I say to everyone, your imagination can take you to great places in life and everywhere you go. So don't ever lose that connection with yourself and your imagination. If you think it, if you feel it, you hold on to it, you can create it and the universe will give it to you. And that's all I have to say. Thank you.
Thank you, Annie. I appreciate you. I've enjoyed you being here, and I hope you keep coming back. I'd like to move on to Sarah Lynn, and I do actually have a small question. Whenever I know you do a lot of different channeling, and when you get into that state of mind, can we look at that as a facet of creating a portal to be able to receive that information? What are your thoughts about that?
I think it depends on the circumstance. Depending on what I'm doing, sometimes it's just connecting with that higher vibration that is already within me that I can achieve. I don't think we necessarily need a portal for that, but I also do work with Akashic records and stuff of that nature. So if I'm utilizing that tool, yeah, I actually have to go someplace, so that could be a portal. I think the difference is when you go someplace outside of self versus inside of self. So when I get a lot of channeled messages, I'm not necessarily leaving my space, my inner space. So I think to me, a portal is anything that is outside of self. So it can be. Sometimes I do go places when I get visions of a person, whether it's back in time or to a different location, such as, a past life or the Akashic records or something of that nature. So I think it can be, for sure.
Thank you. I appreciate it. A lot of things are circumstantial and become subjective because of different experiences. Do you have any, final thoughts that you would like to tonight? And don't forget to give yourself a shout out.
Oh yeah, definitely. Shout out. Yeah, I do stuff on TikTok. Discussions, I do readings, I do past life regressions, all the stuff. Spiritual counseling, lots of divination. I do that, mediumship work, chakra alignments. I do a little bit of everything. I do some of them here live on TikTok and some of them by private appointment. So either way, get in touch if that's something that you're interested in. As far as lately, I think when it comes to portals, what I've been working with mostly, at least in the past couple of months, is I've always worked with dragons, but the sect of dragons that I worked with, more like rogue low dragons that kind of found me. And I've recently started working more with ceremonial aspects of the draconic magic, which requires you to go to spaces where dragons conjugate. I don't want to say their societies are exactly like ours because they're different, but there are some things that are similar. And the only way to get there is through portals or being brought there by the dragons specifically, which would also be a portal, although access would be different than if you were using a sigil or a gate to access it. So I've been doing a lot of work with that, and it is definitely a different experience than working with dragons that have found me. Definitely different aspects and different energy, but I think both are very beneficial and needed and useful for many different things and tools.
Definitely. I appreciate you. And I can vouch. So I've had a lot. I've I've listened to your lives. I've heard you many a times in many different discussions, and you're amazing. You impact this community tremendously, and on in a very good manner, in an amazing manner. So I just wanted to say that I appreciate you, and this community needs people like you. So thank you.
Well, thank you. That actually means a lot to me. I know that that's my path. I know my path is to help other people, help humanity. That's what I'm here for. That's what I've been called to do since I was very, very young. Can't say I've always done it the most efficient way, but it's the trying and not giving up that's important. So if you know what your path is or have an inkling, keep going towards it, even if it feels like you might be messing up. Those mess ups are okay. They help to lead you to the course you're supposed to be on. Everything is done for us, whether we recognize it or not.
Perfectly said. Thank you. Robin, so I would like you to, if you could, just go ahead and give your final thoughts for tonight, but please give a shout out to what you do here on TikTok or any other platform that people might be able to follow you at and interact with those as well. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you again for having me. My final thoughts, as far as being able to be a portal for yourself, just be open to different methods, different ways to get in touch with like your higher self, or to be able to speak to like your spirit guides, or any other dimension other than in this existence. Because when we do allow ourselves that freedom and give ourselves that permission to be open to receive other messages from other areas, it can be very profound guidance that we're looking for. And we all have that ability within us to receive those messages, to receive the guidance and clarity. And I know it can be kind of intimidating at times, but it's well worth the scary steps that it takes to get there, if that makes sense. And once you actually allow yourself to step into that, it's not as scary and it's not as intimidating when we realize that nothing is going to be shown to us that we don't need to see. Nothing is going to be said to us that we don't need to hear. And it's all ourselves that's giving us this guidance. So just be open, and take what resonates and leave the rest, as people say. There's so many beautiful souls that are here tonight and in this community that have so many different ways of doing things, but we all manage to come together, and we just show that support and that love for each other and for others that are on this journey, whether it's in the beginning or the middle or whatever it may be. And I mean, I'm always open to talk, to speak to people. I don't have all the answers. And if there's questions I don't know the answers to, there's many people that we can all get in touch with that might. And I just share my experiences. So that's what I do on TikTok. Is I do energy healing. I do guided meditations that can help you to meet your spirit guides, to kind of find some things within yourself. I do energy healing, inner child work. I do tarot reading, some mediumship. and I just share my experience. It's not right, wrong, or indifferent. It's just mine. So yeah, I just like to keep. If I can help one person to not have to go through the difficulties that I've went through to get to where I'm at, then my job is done. So thank you again for having me. It's an honor to be up here on a panel with such amazing people. Thanks for letting me share my words as well.
Thank you, Robin. I appreciate you. So, you have such a kind heart, and I've experienced your guided meditations. They're great. Um, they they lead you in the path that you need to, and you have a very subtle voice when you do it, and it's amazing. So thank you.
You.
Azrael, would you like to give some final thoughts on
Yeah,
tonight's
yeah.
discussion? Don't forget to give yourself a shout out on your when you do your lives.
No, no problem. I won't. I do want to say there was something that I wanted to add to regarding portals, and I remember in 2006, that was one of my last astral projections because I really don't like to astral project no more. But I was shown and taken to a place underground where um, there was how they described was a gyroscope, and supposedly this gyroscope, to what my interpretation and what was told to me was that this gyroscope was put there underneath the earth in order to harness souls, and they're sent through this portal to another extra planetary place, and I'm just going to leave it like that, and I just want to end it like that, but I definitely believe that CERN, it was that reference, what they that astral projection was showing me. um but yeah, I definitely, keep our minds open. Never take anything for granted. In other words, if you are given what do you call these things? I forgot what they're called right now. I can't even think of it right now. Visions, downloads, whatever, whatever form you get in this information from, medium, like a medium, in between. So if you're getting visions of everything, never doubt it. Always note it down. In other words, take a journal, write it down, because maybe sometime at one point or another, whether it's a day or 5 years from now, you might need that information, because sometimes we receive information, and with patience we lose interest when we can't find the answer to it. And sometimes the decoder, which is the answer, it is given to us in many forms and many aspects, and through the communication through others, like here on TikTok, and all of us that we all come across one another. That one specific individual might be that decoder that aids in us understanding that. Or secondary, it might not have ever been the message to be for you, but you were the one that was able to receive that message. um, and I, as you guys know, in this community, I do host lives every Thursday evening, 11 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. This Thursday was part one of 7 parts that I'm doing, and I'm actually talking spiritual alchemy, and basically I'm breaking it down from calcination, which was this week. It was recognizing and acknowledging the traumas and ego influence traits that have held us from moving forward to make way for the journey upwards to the higher self. And this upcoming week, I will be talking the second part of spiritual alchemy, which is dissolution, which is breaking down of the old beliefs and ego structures for us to be allowed to personally transform on our spiritual growth. So in other words, it's dissolving the false self to uncover the deeper truths of who we are and what our purpose is. So I myself, Alien T, have discussed spiritual alchemy here in the community various times. So I say it total about 5 6 times, but we touched upon it on every aspect, from every step. And I believe that me breaking it down in segments from 1 through 7, we can actually utilize it and better dedicate these steps. So that way, those that are interested, those that are taking journals, and notes, it helps you understand it a lot more. And once you understand what spiritual alchemy is in depth, you can integrate it with whatever beliefs, whatever you're utilizing, whatever tools that one individual is using to benefit their spiritual growth and make things a lot more clearer. This gives you an understanding. I will recap what we discussed this Thursday, on the upcoming Thursday, but
You know, I just want to tell you, Crystal Chris, Innovision, Vinny, and I think it's Rabanis and also Fire Ash. You know, you guys as a team bring the Spiritual Talk 369. You guys are doing a beautiful thing and continuing this growth for all of us, bringing a community together. And it's needed. You know, I definitely believe all our perspectives coming together will find the answer what these portals are. And it's infinite. You know, there's so many different possibilities, but we bring it to light when we speak our truth and actually are able to speak and not be shy of our experiences, you know, because I think a lot of us were intimidated in the past where we felt like, you know what, let's not say what I've been through or what I know because people are going to think we're bunkers and stuff like that. But, you know, like a platter's nuts, we're not bunkers, you know, we're delicious. In other words, food for thought. Everything that we share with one another is the key. And I believe, you know, each one of us owes a part of it. And I appreciate you and I hope you guys have a beautiful and a wonderful week upcoming. I yield.
Thank you, Azrael. I appreciate you, and so the community does. Uh, we've had amazing discussions. So on TikTok, on other platforms. So your his lives are very informational. You will always leave with something that resonates. And that's what these discussions are about. All these different views. It helps because we don't all individually we don't have all the answers, and when we have discussions, those questions start to find answers, and it's amazing. So, but I appreciate you, Azrael. Yes, you are. Would you like to, James? Would you like to give us some final thoughts? And I know you used to do guided meditations as well. I'm not sure if you do anymore, but definitely make sure you give a shout out to whatever it is you got going on in the moment.
Yeah, all right. Then thank you again, Chris and Azrael and Sarah Lynn and all you guys for being the spark that we all need as a community to come together like this. And like you said, it's been such an exponential growth of awareness and knowledge that keeps growing. And we're actually being a collective portal ourselves, I guess, of awakening and information. And then, so I just want to say thanks to everyone and everything that you do. I know it can be a challenge in this world to, to accept other people's views that are different than us sometimes. But the fact that we can all come together and honor one another and share, with one another equally is a true union. So you guys who are out there as one with us, keep shining and creating your own portals. And for me, I have I've been doing guided meditations for over 20 years. Also leaving the body consciously, and I try to go live every Tuesday at 7, between 7 and 9, mainly at 9, but mostly I'm going to try to do it at 7 and keep it on every Tuesdays, where I do guided meditations and open discussion. Nothing so organized like you guys do it really brilliantly. And I tend to just explore consciousness freely with those who want to join and just chit chat. But mainly meditations too are in my bio. If you click under my name and go to YouTube and subscribe, and I've recorded a few of our meditations, which are very much like opening portals for me. When I do a guided meditation, I literally clear myself and go wherever the energy or the words that come. And I know it's definitely from all the people who are new. So always new people who come to these guided meditations on Tuesdays that I do. And just know that the frequency always shifts because of you. And sometimes we go to places that are new most of the time. So I was thinking more what I can contribute to this whole idea of portals, and two things come to mind right now about when I was younger and I was a kid and it was time to take a bath, my mom would run the water. And as the water was running, I would be playing with my toys, my Transformers, my G.I. Joes and trucks and stuff. And when it was time, when she'd tell me to come into the tub, I would grab whatever I could grab and create a portal. And then I would take these toys and put them in the portal, and they would go flying, twisting through this tunnel and land in the tub. And then all of a sudden, they had to like battle or do something in the water, and just before they went back to the room. And I appreciate this live for helping me remember that feeling, because I don't think I have remembered that. I haven't remembered that. And I appreciate the energy in this room, being able to fruit that in my mind, that feeling of being a child again, and remembering like when I used to create portals and how freely and open it was to create a portal. So thank you, Chris, for opening this portal for me. The second thing is that I feel like I want to open a portal through words to the word portal, and use our perception to say not portal for a second, and think of it as a veil. And the way I felt that as a veil is because when I first started leaving my body and really learning, I left college to study this stuff. One of the things I would experience is I would lay down and get in a meditative state. And right before I would leave my body, there would be like a sound of running water, or a snap, or a fire sound, or a whoosh. And then I would be levitating and out of the body. And it felt like you're literally piercing a veil. And as I think more and more about our conversation and we're talking about portals, the more I feel. I got a phone call, sorry, but the more and more I feel like from learning from piercing that veil and discovering myself out of the body, I was in the ethereal realm, or like the room I'm in, but I was non-physical. And then, experimenting at that point, pushing my hand through a wall and seeing all the things I could do. You can create things. I think that we literally have access to other versions of ourselves, which we all, when I say other versions, other dimensional aspects of ourselves. And through each of these awakening, let's say we have 7 bodies, let's say, or 9 bodies that exist on 9 dimensions. I think the whole art of these veils and these portals are realizing the potential of many of these dimensions, but in the physical world, bringing them into this world and feeling the energy associated with that portal. Whatever it resonates to, maybe a portal resonates to the 6th dimension, maybe it resonates to the 8th dimension, maybe it resonates to the 5th dimension around the world. Maybe perhaps allows us, because we're multidimensional, to vibrate into each portal, or into and be able to be a little bit more creative, and with our thoughts and with our intentions. But just thinking about the portals as being a natural part of life, because we are multidimensional beings and we are receiving information from these higher planes right now as we are connected, through this mind. We are, and we're living open portals. We're living open portals, and we're receiving this influx of downflow from all these different energetic dimensions. Just allows, just I don't know, just got my mind really thinking about the geometry and music. And one of the things Sarah Lynn said too about music. I think you guys were talking about music and portals. I did experience, music, and I was on a higher dimension, and the light was golden white light, and then when I heard this music, I was able to lift and go into a higher dimension of like pure white light. And so it's definitely a way that when we connect to this universe through this multidimensional reality. We literally are an open portal, and maybe that's why we are have so much access to the veils that are hidden in the 3rd dimension, which is just waiting for us to move into it and become more aware and send energy and communicate with the world as a collective, perhaps. But so that's all I want to say. I don't want to take too much more time, but I feel like the gas is empty in this vessel for the words. So thank you all. Tuesdays is my meditations, and I love you all in the heart of oneness and growth.
I love you, James. Your words are amazing. So you get in the flow and you just take us with you. And I love it. And I definitely, I need to get back to your meditation lives. They're awesome. You create great company within your lives. And I appreciate them. So I'd like to go down to Alicia and did you get some final thoughts for tonight? And if you have anything that you got promoting on TikTok, don't forget to promote it. It can be anything. So
Okay, well, I do appreciate when people check out my videos because I often put a lot of thought into my messages. And it is my goal to just spread love and light, and I demonstrate it in my videos. And also, I just wanted to say thank you for these discussions. It is so consciousness expanding and heartwarming. And I wish everyone good night. It's super late where I am. It's like past 11:30. So good night, everybody. I enjoyed this a lot.
thank you. I appreciate you, and you. Thank you for coming to the live and coming up on the panel tonight. So we've had discussions on Discord, and I have seen some of your videos, and I do appreciate them. So if anybody isn't giving her a follow, please do, and check out her content. So, Gabe, would you like to give some final thoughts for tonight? And don't forget to give a shout out. I know you do you host a live on Friday nights, I believe, or Fridays.
Yeah, I host a Friday morning with the New Earth channel at 10 a.m. Eastern, 7 a.m. Pacific Standard Time, and I'm kind of like loyal to to this group because I see kind of where it's heading, and I see like the puzzle pieces that are all uniting, and I enjoy every single one of your guys' lives. I go to as many as I possibly can. I feel like my divine creator puts me in situations where I do go and support. And that's one of the things that's been a part of my gift is that I get to recognize and witness to other people's glow, and I can see their flow and I can see them grow. And I truly believe that that's placed in front of my journey because it's a reflection of where I'm going, and it's not like a selfish thing, but it's also like we seem to as a human being, like me, I'm speaking for myself, that it's a part of us that we have this mechanism inside of us that needs a validation, external validation, and instead of asking for one, I started recognizing the reflection in nature and in other people that come across my journey. So it's like the divine will create and place these things in front of you for you because it knows that we have wants and needs and desires and things that cross our minds. And I think it's real mindful when we can reciprocate, reflect that. And I feel like I'm drawn to everybody here. It's like I've had connections with every person that's been in here, and I truly believe that this is not for no reason, for not just any particular reason. It was divinely orchestrated, right? So it goes a part of that whole spiritual order. And I truly believe that every single person is a special key, and it's a note that we play individually in our divine instruments that we play. It's a harmonic tune that we all play. And when we get together, it's like, in my opinion, it's like we're such in rejoicing and honoring back into what our experiences, and we're acknowledging our soul essence. I truly believe that the spiritual realm, the ether, whatever you want to call it, heavens, or whatever you want to call it. I really truly believe that it's like rejoicing in us, that we're actually acknowledging the lights that we burn within us. Like when we flick that pilot light on, I always like to use that analogy. Like everybody has a water heater that's went out from time to time, but there's a pilot light that constantly goes, like that is constantly burning. And I truly believe that once that pilot light clicks on and we click it to where it's like we can hold up that knob of like raising that flame and lowering that flame, raising that flame and lowering. And I think that's, to me, is that's our soul burning, our soul desire burning for the creator. And I believe that once we just take our hands off the steering wheel, it just like it does it by itself. And I get that way when I'm around like the rest of you guys. And I'm one of those people that if you guys go check, and I don't need no validation, but just go check your lives. I'll be the one that are always watching your guys' lives, always posting on your guys' things, always reposting your things, because I can witness your guys' greatness. When I stop by your lives, I'm always like, just showing support, letting you guys know that I'm there, acknowledging you guys that, hey, I'm here, I see you guys. And I truly believe that that's the purest way that we can connect with one another, is giving each other our total undivided attention and our support for one another, because that support goes a long way. That's better than any money or anything that we can give each other. I truly believe just that acknowledgement and that reflection of our acknowledgement from our soul to soul. I really understand what that word means now. That soul to soul reflection is like key. And I believe that more and more we recognize that internal soul from one another. I truly believe that those are the things that like emits more downloads for one another. It's more that the soul, like the creator brings into us and pours into us. And I love it. It's just like the biggest, if I could say that's my number one attribute as my gift, is being able to recognize and witness that glow in each and every one of you. So with that, I land my B. I appreciate you guys.
And I appreciate you, Gabe. The community does. I see it. It's, when you talk about, promoting the community, that you've been seeing a lot of action, and that's amazing, because I've seen that like in all aspects of all these different communities and spirituality, and that's just it. We grow together, and it's amazing. So all the aspects of the spiritual community, like I've seen spiritual lives that I've never even seen to be before, and there's 1,000 people in there. So it's the divine works everywhere, and it's amazing. And it leads us in the places that we're supposed to be. So I appreciate you, Gabe. And I would like to go ahead and go to Brenda. We are on final thoughts, but please talk about your understandings of portals, or just experience of portals. Any message that you would like to leave us here with us tonight. I appreciate you.
Well, I'm going to tell you, my granddaughter brought me to TikTok, and I didn't know there was such a thing as a spiritual channels like this. But I want to do a shout out to, yes, you are, James. I'm here to gather knowledge, and I always want to try new things. And I want to say thank you to him, because I went on to his live one time, and there was a bunch of people there, and I said, James, I said, take us on a trip. I never had guided meditation like that in my life. So I said, take me on a trip. And he said, okay. And he went into a meditation, and I could feel myself. And when you guys talk about portals, when he was taking me on that meditation, I could feel myself going beyond my body. And I came to a realm, and I could see myself standing up there, up and I looked down, and I could see that spiral, the lights and everything inside there. And I could see everything around me, the heavens, everything. That was the first time I ever had an experience like that. And then I went to another one of his lives, and people were talking about where they're from and stuff like that. I wanted to know where I was from. At Paris, we did another guided meditation because I asked, James, will you do it for me? Yes, he will. And what come to me? It said that I was from Andromeda, and I could feel that was my home. And then I asked the people, I said, you know about this place? And when they told me, and then I went in and I searched it, oh my God, that's where he took me. So James, this is for you. I'm so happy I met you. So happy I met you. And you answered all my questions. And there's beautiful people in this life. Gabe. Gabe is amazing. He answers any questions I want. He's a true, beautiful soul. Azrael, you're the most perfect being I ever seen in my life. Invasion, I was on your live and I've heard you talk before. And I didn't realize I was waiting for you talking. You were the host all the time. You're so connected. You guys are all beautiful. And thank you for helping me and answering my questions. And I think you're Crystal. Chris, I think that's who the host is. I heard you speak and you're beautiful as well. So thank you for having a place like this so we can learn from one another.
Thank you. I've seen you many times in the chats, and I've actually seen you on James's lives as well, and you're an amazing soul. So I appreciate you. That's what makes this collective of these communities so amazing. Is just beautiful souls in there, ready to learn and grow together. So thank you. I'm gonna go to Innovision. This is last but not least. He is a big part of this spiritual Talk 369 that we've put together, and he is an equal part in this. So, your final thoughts on tonight, and don't forget to give any type of shout outs for either your content or whatever it is that you want to do. Thank you, brother.
It is with love and grace that I am with you as you are with me. Beloveds, we are all together in this transition. And yes, you are one, as I am. There is a challenge faced every day, but as we go forward in this ascension, there are certain types of things that we cannot do anymore. There are parameters, of course, that we cannot succumb to. We must leave behind. This is a portal. It does not mean anything that you may think of. Yes, you can boister yourself. You can be bougie in ways of experience. It is a challenge. that we face as we enter any portal. Any portal is a challenge to who you are, to what you will represent when you get there, to what you will be when you be there. And I will be there. We all have fears because we have been told that we are less than, or we do not amount to, or we are not worthy of. Beloved ones, taking control of your mind is the hack to this matrix that we need to succumb to. This hack, if you so choose it, are archetypical. There are many archetypes in this world that control us and make us do what we have to do. And yes, we will always do what we have to do. We all have these fears of not succumbing to those that perhaps control us or want us to do things that we do not necessarily want to do. You have the power to change the result. This is a portal that will change the result of you, yes, not me. For I am on my own path, as you are. I want you to be with me. Yes, not in a sense of egoic pride. It is a sense of reinforcement. We reinforce each other every day, every other day. It does not matter what day it is today. There are words that we have all used to concentrate the negative aspect of those that we do not know, to put them in a box, perhaps put them in a place of understanding. And yes, we can all find our own understanding, but it is not ours to understand. Truth is, it is not ours to understand. Focus. We are all one. You know this. We are all one consciousness. When we reach this level of understanding, we won't need to say anything except hug, pat on the back, hold my pinky. There are impacts that we have chosen to make on this world. This perhaps could be contractual. They could be a part of you that you have to do, that you have to be. But I will challenge you, because I want you to be where I am. try, can't or cannot, won't or will not, should or should not. These phrases are of the old world, are of what we have been told to believe, are what we have been told to perpetuate in our existence. We all have fears. We all think that we are not worthy of happiness, of healthy relationships. It is a spiritual path we have chosen. If you are here and hear my words, you feel me as you are now, present in my awareness. Try, can't, won't, should. These are all limitations that we have already been taught. We've been taught to believe that we have been limited since birth, since we landed on this plane of existence, on this planet. Transcendence has been spoken of as a portal. My loves, it is not easy to break boundaries or limitations, especially if you are not mentally prepared. I've always said that it is the hardest place to start, in the beginning. And oftentimes we will drop anchor and succumb to what we have become. If no one cares, if everyone becomes that fuck of existence, and I know you know what I'm talking about. This is the egoic presence of who we are. If everyone becomes this sense of individual relation to their own self, to what they own, to what they want, that is the sea of fire. That is the fire that they will drown in. I would open myself up to anyone who would question anything, because I know I am not alone, as you are not. It is with love, always, that commands our existence. Thank you for being with me as it is an honor and privilege to be with you.
It went with the music perfectly. I appreciate you in a vision. You have great insight. You very clairvoyant. Your energy is amazing. It always has been. And I've always appreciated you from the moment I first heard you speak. I don't know. That was a year and a half ago, I would say. So it's been my pleasure, for sure. Tonight's been amazing. It's been a great live. I appreciate everyone that's been here. Everybody that's been in the chats. It's been, really active throughout the whole night. I would like to do a shout out for Spiritual Talk 369. We do these lives every Sunday, 9 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. It's a different discussion every Sunday. It's always spiritually based. It's a safe place to come up and just grow with everybody. My name's Chris. I'm Crystal Chris on TikTok, on my other accounts. This is a shared account, by the way. So you will see other hosts throughout each week. So that's myself, Crystal Chris. It's Fire Ash, Innovision, Urbanus, Ray, Drea, and I think Eddie. He just kind of pops in from time to time, but it's grown as a family within even Spiritual Talk. So I appreciate everybody. But I am Crystal Chris on TikTok, and my market is going to be closing down end of next month, which I'll actually start hosting lives throughout the week at nights and maybe even on Saturdays throughout the day, doing basically just selling crystals and showing off some of my stuff that I find, but that's primarily what it's going to be. Usually that's my goal in the wintertime to move our inventory, is to do some of that on TikTok. So if you're interested in that, we have wonderful prices, and we can ship anything within the United States. So, but until then, you can find us here every Sunday, and we'll be doing Spiritual Talk. You can also find a lot of these people at their own lives. Shout out to Alien T. He does an amazing spiritual live. There's others out there as well that, Spirit will guide you where you're led to be. We do that even within ourselves. So what we seek is what we find, even subconsciously. So, and a lot of times that's the best way to be led, is just spirit fed. So I hope everyone has a wonderful night, and until next time, much love.
Good night, Sarah. Chris.